our coaches is putting everybody in such a position to where I don't even worry about this no more as a fan. If you give us the ball, 2 minutes left, we gonna win.
We're going to get right to the phones at 301-230-0980. I feel like there's a lot of happy truths to come as the Commanders have won their first playoff game since 2006, the 2005 season, of course. Next up, Detroit on Saturday. Let's get right to it. Let's go to Mill. Mill, get us started here on a victory. Tell the Truth Monday.
What's up, Craig? Thank you so much for taking my call. Thank you, Anthony. Always playing that song. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather, but man, I mean that was an epic game. I think the last time I called, I was telling people like literally, I mean y'all gotta hang in there. Know that the Commanders, this is something new. This is a new era. JD5 is here to stay, and I just got a couple of things. Like I just think even if we would have went into overtime, so say if the kicker would have missed, I still think JD still would have went and took the game over himself, or let alone we would still went in overtime and made adjustments. Because Cliff Kingsbury, I mean, it wasn't the best play calling all game, but I mean, you could just tell how these guys never give up. They're very resilient, and I mean, shout out to some of those plays that Cliff came up with Marcus Mariota being on the field, getting that first down, Deron Payne, he made that sack before going out of play. Going out of the game with the injury, but it was just amazing how they just, like I said, resilient. Jaden Daniels just so poised. Getting that third and one, that first down for the kicker to sink the field goal, and I'm just happy. I'm on cloud nine, and to be honest, hail to the Commanders, and we're going into the Lions Den next week, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun, Mill. Thanks for the call, and I'm really glad you brought up the stuff with Cliff because I can't wait to dive into this tape. I'm only one series in so far on the tape, and obviously that ends in a fourth down that doesn't go the Commanders' way. And I actually really like the play call on fourth down. They tried a middle screen to Austin Eckler, and the Bucs did a really good job of sitting on it. They also got pressure quickly, and there's really not a whole lot of play calls that work with a ton of pressure. And even the goal line sequence that they wind up, that's the other fourth down they fail on, the one where it should have been PI on Ertz. So maybe they should have ultimately succeeded. But on the first down where they have the rollout to Bates, Jaden just got to throw it. That's a good play call. It's a good design. It's good execution by Bates, except for Jaden doesn't throw the football for some bizarre reason. He's not perfect. Even in a game where he was great and was the absolute engine why they won, there's an example of something to grow on, something to do better. And he's been so good in the red zone. It's hard as a play caller if you're, just ram the ball in there. Well, that wasn't working ever. They tried to run the ball in there. They tried quarterback run. And so it just leaves you with a ton of limited options. And eventually Cliff's still able to get them in the end zone when it matters the most. So I can't wait to get deeper into some of the situational play calling, but I think there's great stuff all around from a whole lot of people yesterday. Let's go to Mike in DC. Mike, thanks for calling. You are on the Hoffman Show on a Tell the Truth Victory Monday.
Well, you know what? Thank you for having me. Being a longtime Washington fan, going back to actually my first game, kind of speaking on this whole luck piece, because there's been a lot of luck around here this season. My first game ever was the NFC East title game in 1979 when I think we had the Cowboys 30-23, and then Roger Staubach comes down the field and does the stuff that he did, and we ended up losing that game 31-30. That was my first game. Now, being on the other end, having lived through all the winning years, I hear a lot of these younger fans call in and they're talking about how miserable they've been over the past, 30 years, and absolutely true. But coming from imagine coming from a winning perspective, I'm a Reagan baby, so I saw those glory years, and then to have to live through 30 years of obscurity has just been, it's just mind-blowing how the ball's bouncing our way these days. To tell the truth, I'm very comfortable with playing Detroit. I was actually hoping that we would get an opportunity to play them because all the pressure's on them. However, I'm a little concerned, if I got to tell the truth, I'm concerned about our run game. You know, when we're running these RPOs, I don't know why we're, you know, or we're just kind of just going for this halfback dive, and there aren't any holes there at all. I mean, zero holes. So I'm just wondering how we can counter that, you know, this Saturday.
Yeah, it's a great question, Mike, and it's one that I'm looking forward to diving in with Logan on the tape. I appreciate the call, and congrats to you, man, sticking with it and getting to see all this winning. But I think on the run game stuff, like, it all looks the same often on TV from the sideline angle. These, you know, it looks like a halfback dive. Some of them are truly, you know, halfback dive, where it's just a man-to-man blocking scheme running forward. Or really it's inside zone where it winds up looking pretty similar on most snaps, right? Or it's just like, hey, let's get forward and let's get some movement. Sometimes it's a duo play where there's specific double teams, and those have gone okay at times this year. Sometimes they're traps and whams and pullers and GTs and counters, and it's all inside runs, and some of the times it's even an outside run that doesn't get to the outside because ultimately, the reason they're all failing is pretty similar. The offensive line is just not hitting blocks and moving people in a way that they were earlier in the season. And so it comes down to getting these seals and creases for guys to squirm through. And I don't know that B-Rob's really hitting those right now. Eckler's done a good job on some situations. I think Chris Rodriguez has probably been their best runner the last the last month, but it's in very limited carries. They clearly don't trust him with as much of the playbook, or they just don't think Robinson's been bad enough to bench. They think it's other stuff. And thus, when Austin came back, Chris was inactive yesterday. So I think the counter to that is, can you change the numbers? And they did a good job of that at times yesterday with the RPO game. Jaden pulls two of them and hits Terry on a slant twice. One of them is called back because he pulls it really late, and Wiley actually got good movement for once and got to the second level and was up the field. The problem was Jaden then threw the football, and it was an ineligible man downfield penalty. That's a tough one on Wiley. The other option is the way they've been successful over the last month before yesterday was Jaden pulls it and he runs, and Marcus pulls it and he runs. And if you're going to overload the front side of these zone read plays, then that means there's numbers on the back side. Tampa played everything really well yesterday. And what you have to hope is Detroit doesn't quite have the discipline, doesn't have a player like Kalijah Kancey who's so quick and can, from that three technique position, you know, it was weird. It was interesting. It's something I'm going to talk about with Logan. Often you read the edge player. They were leaving Kancey unblocked yesterday as an interior guy, and I'm curious what that was all about and that wrinkle, why they thought that would be the right move. And obviously it backfired at times because Kancey's so quick and he was able to play both the halfback and the quarterback. So there's a lot of detail that gets to the run game that gets really nerdy. I'll have some more better answers for you later in the week. We'll have a really thorough breakdown on Take Command with Logan, who knows the run game as well as any analyst that I've ever worked with. But those are some initial thoughts on kind of what happened with that run game, what they can do moving forward. And I think the beauty of it is they somehow, despite that, played a ball control offense, found the screen game, found the quick game, found the hitches, found the slants to replace the run game, and were able to control the ball at a really, really high rate, holding it for over 35 minutes, never punting. And that's how they were able to play complementary football without a running game. Not ideal, but better than not playing complementary football at all. Keep it rolling with Tim in DC. Tim, thanks for calling. You are on the Hoffman Show on a Tell the Truth Monday.
I feel like, I ain't going to say untouchable, but I feel like, again, give me a shot at the end of the game with 5. And no doubt I think we're going to win. If we don't, okay, we took our shot. But this more than anything, like our coaches, man, it's like our coaches is putting everybody in such a position to where I don't even worry about this no more as a fan. I just know I can be blinded sometimes as a fan and say, hey, if you give us the ball, 2 minutes left, we going to win because I know the coach is going to keep it close for us. Because I don't have to worry about that no more because we got Magic Johnson dancing at the stadium. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got stuff like that going on now. And if you ain't in the city, you got to understand the city's different right now, bro. And I'm going to do an age check for everybody. I'm sorry. My last time we won a playoff game, I was 16 years old. My first game I ever went to was at RFK The stadium was shaking. Gus Frerotte was our quarterback, running in the walls and stuff like that. The city different, man. Hey, Craig, keep up the good work, man. Happily, man. Keep it up, bro. On to Detroit, man. Why not us?
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, Tim. And, to be honest, like, it's all, like, the last two calls are related, right? And, like, again, whether it's a belief in a higher power, whether the higher power that you believe in is your teammate, Jaden Daniels, like, whatever it is that is keeping this group calm, and there's a clarity to it as well, right? They have clear minds in the biggest moments. They don't stress. And for all of them, it probably comes from a different place. For Jaden, absolutely his faith plays a role. I think for someone like Cliff, I don't know if he's a big prayer guy or whatever, but I know that dude has put in a ton of work, that he has clarity because his clarity comes from his preparation. Dan Quinn, he's thought about all these situations and has repped them in meetings where it's like, okay, it's this time. Okay, our communication is this. I'm going to do this. Cliff, we want this. I'm going to call timeout here. Like, it's preparation. It's prayer. It's belief in your teammates, in the group as a call. Whatever it is, they've got it. They've figured out their formula for this year and hopefully for many years to come. And the results, well, they speak for themselves. They have won a 13th game this season, their first playoff win since 2005 or 2006, the 2005 season. On down the list, and just time and time again executing in late game situations. They're now 9-4 in close games this year, which seems like a relevant point. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Let's wrap it up with one more. Let's go to Shaq in Lanham. Shaq, thanks for calling. You are on the Hoffman Show. Wrap us up here on a Tell the Truth Monday.
Hey, Craig. Jaden, he plays the game to win. He plays the game with confidence. He plays to win. He hates to lose. He's not real flamboyant about it with his emotions, but you can tell by the way he plays. He plays to win, and that confidence just carries over to other teams. You know, now we know what Kansas City, Green Bay, the Colts with Manning, and when New England had Brady, the confidence their team when they should get the ball back for one season so far. Now we know what they've been feeling like for years, but Jaden just has that confidence and carries over to the rest of the team. And you know, it just can't even describe it, man. It's great.
It's hard to describe, and I appreciate the call, man, and totally agree that there's just something. Like last night as that game is winding down and Tampa's driving, you're just not that stressed. Anthony's had his halftime good luck glizzy. Jaden's going to get the ball back, whether he's down or he's got to have a field or he's tied. Field goal, touchdown, they would have done it. They didn't punt the entire game. Like, that was the thing is, like, as the defense crumbled, Anthony, I was just like, yeah, but Tampa hasn't literally has not stopped them the entire game. They did not punt in a playoff game. 0 turnovers in a playoff game on the road. Doesn't happen, except for them, because they did it. And whether they're hashtag blessed or just really good in key situations, whatever deity it is that you believe in, they're going to Detroit.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.